At the beginning, the Bothy Band wanted to make an album, and we decided, after some consideration of what was being offered by other record companies, that it would be nice to have our own and to have control over what we did. And our approach was a bit idealistic at the beginning, but in certain ways it was a good thing to do.
Seamus, why did you leave a relatively safe job in Gael Linn to start Mulligan?
Well, I suppose at a time like this I began to wonder myself. But I suppose I felt I had gone as far as I could in Gael Linn and being involved with the production of their records. And I had already begun to be involved in production in the classical field. In fact, like, the company I had was one of the first companies to record James Galway as a solo artist. So I knew there was a potential and that we could set up a company which could turn out international standard records.
And why is there a necessity for a company like that?
Well, I think that up to then, there were very few companies in Ireland which were willing to touch any kind of, let's say, quality music, classical music or contemporary music. There were companies like Gael Linn and Claddagh that specialised in ethnic music, and we had the multinational companies which mostly were involved with international acts, and then we had the companies like Release and Hawk which dealt mainly with the show bands. So we felt there was a big gap there, and there certainly was a necessity for a company like Mulligan.
There weren't many companies around who would put out records of people who weren't professional in the conventional sense, musicians or singers or whoever, you know. People who were just good, maybe, for their own sake. And in fact, a sensible thing to do, because ultimately people would buy the records.
I felt we could offer total artistic discretion for the artists, a platform where they could record the music they felt was the kind of music that should be coming out of Ireland. We also felt that we could offer them a contract which was more tuned to the interest of the artist rather than the companies.
The whole scene was a bit hidebound at the beginning, all right, or I suppose the recording scene everywhere. And it also, the whole scene suffered because of people's ignorance of the possibilities and of what went on behind the scenes, behind the percentages, behind whatever deals were offered to them by record companies.
What kind of things went on behind the scenes?
Well, it's not, I shouldn't say things behind the scenes. To my mind, the recording deals offered to people, say 5 years ago, 7 years ago in Ireland, weren't realistic. They were not in favour of the musician or the artist, you know.
Singer Don Baker and guitarist Johnny Norris are two young musicians who've just recorded Inner City Song for release during Dublin's Inner City Community Festival, a non-commercial ballad in the usual sense, but Mulligan takes the gamble.
He's lived here in this neighbourhood since 1922, and now he's forced to leave his home to make way for their plans, and he knows that they don't care or give a damn. Then he takes a stroll round Monto, what's left of it today, remembering his old buddies and the place they used to play. Now all they have are memories, and they are but a few. But it seems the money grabbers want them too. And living in a one-room slum ain't easy, raising 7 children on the dole. No place for kids to play while you build your motorway. As locking house, the playground of today. Dublin's inner city is a sorry sight to see. A mass of filthy buildings, a hole of poverty. The people find it hard to make ends meet most of the time. And you're surprised that they should turn to crime. And living in a one-room slum ain't easy. Raising 7 children on the dole. No place for kids to play while you build your motorway. It's locking house, the playground of today.
Well, has it been difficult to survive in the commercial jungle then?
I think it has, really. I suppose like any small company starting up in any field, it has been difficult. But for the cooperation we got from other suppliers and studios, I think it wouldn't have been possible.
What have been the main problems?
I suppose getting a public used to hearing quality music coming from Ireland, where up to then it had always been international material which was being foisted on them. I think, like for years, the Irish companies developed a sort of music which was, I think, myself, below international standards. And Irish people had accepted this en masse. And when we came along, we brought a bit of quality, I think, into the music. And the public weren't ready for this.
Well, why do you think it is that the level of awareness is not there in the Irish public?
Well, I would say again that for years, people in the country were used to going to ballrooms and seeing show bands who, up to recently, I suppose, were simply doing cover versions of American material. The groups that play their own material were always, I think, left out of ballrooms. Even today, I think this is the case.
What has Mulligan contributed to the Irish music scene?
I think that a fair few people got recorded who may not have been recorded even yet by other companies, and it's kind of opened it up, loosened it up. I think that the sort of competition that it's created has motivated other companies in the country to reconsider.
I would say that the fact that to date, after only 3 to 4 years, we have a catalogue of over 40 LPs and that we have produced over 25 singles is in itself an achievement. But I think the fact that we would have an act like the Bothy Band, that we have recorded a major act like Paul Brady, not to mention the Boomtown Rats, I feel like that in itself is a very, very big achievement.
Well, you say that you're still not really happy with the public response. What would you like to see happening?
Well, I would like to see, I think, the public buying more of our records, records like the Paul Brady album, which I think still would lag behind the sales of, say, a show band record. I would like to see us developing more in the international scene.
Do you think that Mulligan can make a serious dent in the international music scene?
I think we can. I think it's up to having the quality material. I think we have the writers. I think we have the studios that can produce the stuff. In fact, I've no doubt it just takes time, really.
I'd hope it could continue the way it's going, which is recording people who deserve to be recorded, but who aren't immediately obvious to the general public or to whoever, you know. But hopefully just who play good music or who write good songs.